All right. Good evening, everyone. So nice to see all of you here. There's 170, 180, and it's climbing. I guess they're at the back of the trail. They'll make it to campsite soon enough. Lots more people going to join us. I'm really excited for today. I've been honestly missing the mountains. I haven't been able to get out. I'm used to my monthly treks and my once a year Himalayas treks. But I haven't been able to sort of do that. And yeah, so I thought, why not have a way to sort of bring the mountains to us, right? And let's see. All right. So um, the idea, the thought experiment is that if we can't go to the mountains, how do we get the mountains to us? And that's what we're going to attempt to do today. Those of you who are new to Enlightened Sapiens, we are a community that encourages you to grow and learn with the things that you love. So I believe most of us here are they love nature or the outdoors in general, right? And the reason why we sort of encourage you to learn the things that you love is so that when you're ready, you can give back with this knowledge, making it easier for someone else to do the same. They don't have to go through the same troubles as you did to gain that knowledge. So today we have a very inspiring person, a crazy mountaineer, Keval Kaka, who wishes to give back with his knowledge on mountaineering. So for those of you who don't know, Keval summited Mount Everest last year and successfully summited Mount Everest last year. And he not only did that, he summited Mount Lhotse as well. Both of these mountains in a span of 6 days. So two of the world's tallest mountains in a span of 6 days. So today, Keval is here with us. He's going to share his experiences with all of us and sort of teach us the lessons that we're so used to learning from mountains and nature in general, right? He's got a lot of stories, a lot of inspiring stuff. And along with him, I'd like all of you to share your experiences, right? Because we are trying to be with nature, and when we are in the mountains or when we're camping or when we're hiking, we are with each other, we're having clean conversations. So I'd like all of you to sort of share your experiences through the chat box. So keep the chat box clean, guys. Let's not put unnecessary chats. Keep the chat box clean to share only your experiences that you really want to share. And you can raise your hand to interact with Keval and interact with all of us here today. Yeah, so before we begin, I'd like all of you to try something with me, okay? I'd like all of you to shut your eyes and take a deep breath. Sit back, okay? Yeah, be comfortable. Shut your eyes and take a deep breath, okay? Now I'd like all of you to think of the last time you all were in the outdoors. Feel the vastness, the gentle breeze. Now, I'd like you all to imagine that you all are on a mountain. You can see your sleeping tent. Imagine that you're just getting out of your dining tent after a nice meal, hot meal that we're so used to getting in the mountains. You're getting out of the tent, and I'd like you all to look at the bonfire that's laid out in front of you. I'd like you all to sit beside the fire. Can you feel the warmth of the fire? How are you feeling? Are you feeling relaxed? Are you feeling calm? Okay, so now I'd like all of you to gently open your eyes. Awesome. So I'm sure the adjectives that we can describe what we're feeling is focus, calm, contented, happy. And these are just some words that we associate with the mountains. And this is the state of mind that we usually get when we're in the mountains. So for today, I'd like all of you to stay in this mindset and be with one another, share each other's experiences, And yeah, Keval is going to help you keep this mindset not just for today, but for the weeks to come and months to come. So, Keval, would you like to begin and share some of your experiences?
Hi everybody. How are you doing? Um, Thank you so much for such a warm introduction. And yeah, I mean, I could feel the campfire and I could recollect all those memories, not just from Everest, but all over. Like, I have been climbing since the past 7 years, and yeah, every day is something new, something challenging, something very beautiful. And the best thing about the Himalaya, it is, very humble and mesmerizing. With every golden rays you find a new opportunity. So mountains have been my teacher. They have taught me a lot over the years. And today I really, I am really glad, and I find lots of pleasure to share this feeling with you guys, so that it could be useful for you people in some or the other way. And I know how much people are missing the mountains. I get this question every time. Everybody is like, how do you manage? You have out of 365 days a year, you are almost 300 days in the mountains. So how do you manage? How are you dealing with this lockdown? Because obviously this is the maximum, the longest duration I have been here at home, and usually I'm in the mountains. So everybody, they were surprised and asking me. But then that's what I would like to say, that this also has come from the mountain. A small incident I'd like to share. So we were climbing Stoke Kangri in winters. So people who have been to Stoke Kangri and who have been climbing, so in winters, Stoke Kangri is extremely difficult. The temperature drops to around minus 40, minus 45 degrees Celsius, whereas in the city of Leh itself, when you land, the temperature is around minus 10, minus 12 degrees in the day. So the moment you land in Leh, and the moment you climb Stoke Kangri and you are back, it is always like above minus 10 to minus 15 degrees Celsius. So during that time when we were climbing, and we were in the tent, and it was snowing for, I think, 3 to 4 days constantly. It was snowing and we could not step out of the tent. So we were, as you say, isolated, or maybe you can say quarantine over there. And yeah, I mean, we did not have networks, we did not have cell phones, no batteries, because the solar did not work and the power went down. It was snowing, so we could not sleep as well. We had to go out of the tent after every 1 2 hours and remove the soft snow that was accumulated on the tents. And it was not just horrifying, but our mind, it ran at double speed. What if we get buried here if there is lots of snow? So nobody could sleep. My climbing partners and everybody, we were awake. So we sang songs, we talked, we shared stories with each other about our previous expeditions which we had, and that is how we survived. So that is how, that gave me strength, and that was one big learning. So that came to use in my quarantine days, and it was really good. And I hope that the days that I've spent in quarantine will be really helpful for me in my future journeys. But I would like to interact with you people, and know that what has been your quarantine journey. So if anybody could tell me, something that was really difficult for them but they overcome during the quarantine days.
You all can use the raise hand button and we can unmute you to interact with Keval and the rest of your campmates.
Yeah,
Okay.
you have two people. Yeah, come on, tell.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Akanksha. Akanksha, we can go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Hi, myself Akanksha.
Hi, Akansha.
Hello.
Yeah,
We
we
can
can hear
we,
you. You're audible. Yeah.
I want to share I want to share my journey that when I'm going to Manali.
Ah,
Recently, my recent trip was going to be Manali,
oh,
and
okay.
I enjoyed them very well. And I'm from Maharashtra, and
Okay.
here no mountains there. And when I go to the mountains, it's a very peaceful and very, you know, very, very amazing experience for me. And when I step ahead to a snowfall, it's look like uh, amazing thing. it's wonder.
Yeah, yeah, I can get that. Yeah, even when I first witnessed my snowfall, like the first snowfall that I saw, I had tears in my eyes. It was really mesmerizing. White carpet everywhere, and I can actually connect with you. I can understand, being in Maharashtra. I also stay in Mumbai, so we have Sayadris here, but it is the harsh weather, the sun, and everything. And suddenly, when you go to Manali, it is like complete change of situation. You have multiple layers of clothes, and the breeze coming by and the snow beside the tent. So I can completely understand. Yeah, you are absolutely right. That's an amazing experience for the first time, and I hope you get many more such experiences. um, I would like to share one more thing here, that mountains have not been just my passion. So when I started mountaineering, that changed my whole life. They became the source of my life, so I chose mountaineering as my lifestyle. So when I started mountaineering, everything slowly started coming into me. I learned so much from the mountains. Like, I learned to like be disciplined, because when I first had this thought that I want to become a mountaineer, so we all know, it is not easy going in the mountains. It is not easy climbing. So I was just puzzled, करना क्या है? इतना कुछ सोच लिया, एवरेस्ट क्लाइम करना है, ये माउंटेन करना है, वो करना है, बट कैसे? यू नो फर्स्ट थिंग, जब मेरे दिमाग में आया कि अगर आप माउंटेन के सामने खड़े रह के सिर्फ उसको देखते रहोगे तो वो नहीं होगा. यू हैव टू टेक दैट वेरी फर्स्ट स्टेप. तो वो फर्स्ट स्टेप लेना बहुत जरूरी है. यू हैव टू प्रिपेयर योर सेल्फ एंड स्टार्ट क्लाइंबिंग, एंड देन देर इज अ ब्यूटीफुल लैडर फॉर्म्ड. तो एक बाय एक स्टेप लेके आप आगे बढ़ोगे. तो मैंने बोला चलो ठीक है, फर्स्ट ट्रैक से स्टार्ट करते हैं, ट्रैकिंग करते हैं, एंड फिर क्लाइंबिंग की शुरुआत करेंगे. So in the initial days, when I started, it was very difficult. The first thing that I defeated was my alarm clock. The morning, I am sure everybody, have this problem, that the morning that you wake up and the only thing you want to defeat is your alarm clock. So that is how I started. I defeated my alarm clock. I used to wake up at 4:30 in the morning for my exercises, and I used to train for around 7 to 8 hours a day, along with yoga, and I used to do lots of gymnastics. I used to do lots of stretching. I used to do lots of meditation. So it was really important to prepare mentally and physically. And yeah, I mean, the moment I started, understanding how things really turn up and how things work when you are really disciplined. Because in the mountains, you do not get a second chance. If you are late, it could be Mr. Late. So it is very important. An avalanche, lots of people who have seen movies like Everest, or maybe seen series on Everest. They know how dangerous the mountain behaves, and one small mistake or one small delay can cost a lot. So you have to be alert, and you really have to be disciplined, that okay, if you are supposed to move in the morning at 3 o'clock, you have to leave your tent by 3. So that is what I followed. And I am seriously aware that in the day-to-day life, how discipline matters. Many people from the corporate job, they know the value of discipline. 1 minute and your half day is done. So it is really important. So you have to manage time. And one small incident I would like to share. So I submitted Mount Everest, and while I was coming down, so there was one guy. He was lying down, and that guy, he was unconscious. So I just went to him and I just shook him up, and I just checked his oxygen. So his oxygen was really low. So I just made him like, okay, what's wrong? I tried to communicate, but he was not responding. So I just turned his oxygen on, and he suddenly gasped a breath, and he just got up, and he was not able to speak. He was very weak. So I gave him my Snicker bar that I was carrying, and I gave him some warm water. After that, I just asked him, what's your name? So he was an NRI who is based in Dubai, and he said, last night I submitted Everest, but I am so tired, and my Sherpa has gone ahead, and I cannot move ahead. So I don't know what to do. Can you please help me? Can you save my life? And I was like, okay, no problem. I'll definitely help you. And I tried to get him up, and our tent was just 300 meters away. That is Camp 4, that is the dead zone, South Col. So I just took him on my shoulder, but he was really heavy. He was 6 feet 2 inches, and he was an athlete. So he's done Ironman, and he was a real serious athlete, and I could not carry him. So I said, okay, you need to wait. and I'll just be back, you know, within like some time. I'll get some help, I'll get some oxygen and some food for you so that you'll be energized and we can take you back. So I went to the tents, I called the Sherpas, we went back, we took him back to the tents, and then we directly sent him down to Camp 2, and he was helicopter lifted and he was saved. But so after finishing all of this, we went back to our tents. After 2 to 3 hours, there was one more guy who faced the same problem. He was also exhausted and he was lying there, but there was nobody to help him. So it was really sad, and he passed away. So that was the first Indian last season that died on Everest, you know. And that time, you know, you really realize how important time is. Like, right person being at the right time saves a life. So that was really, you know, unfortunate for me that I was not there, and we could not do anything about it, but we really prayed that, you know, his family members get strength like forget him and remember in all the good memories. So I really want to know, you know, if somebody from the group really has some such memory of time, where time has played such an important factor. Over to you. Yeah. Anybody?
You can use the raise hand button, and so that you can share your experiences. Yes, there's Sarthak. Yes, you can share your experience with everyone. You can unmute yourself, Sarthak. Sarthak Bhasan.
You can hear me?
Yeah, yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, so last year in December, I attended this adventure course from NIM Uttarkashi,
Wow, amazing.
National
Yeah.
Institute of Mountaineering. So my like story is not that thrilling like yours, but we had this group task which is called point to point march, in
Yes.
which we have to cover a certain amount of distance, and there were 5 groups, like 5 patrols, and the fastest one would win.
Yes.
So I was like we were at some height and we returned back to the hostel, and I was not well. Like, I had cough and cold, and like I was not well and I was not able to breathe. But I still volunteered that I would participate in that event, and our team was kind of strong. But like I was resting, like I trekked for 5 kilometers and I rested for like half an hour and all that stuff. So when we reached there was a temple at the site, and when we reached there, like when the results came, we got to know that we were 1 minute late. Like we came second, and the team got first was 1 minute early in that. At that time, I realized that what is the importance of time, and like if I I could have like walked faster, or you know rested for some less time, so we could have won. So
Yeah.
that was the importance of time for me.
Yeah, exactly. When we look at Olympics, so there you lose a gold medal maybe by split of a second, not just a minute. Here it's a minute, but yeah, in the mountains. You know, the time plays a very important factor, because we all know, you know, there is a saying कि मुंबई का फैशन और पहाड़ों का वेदर, you know, वो कभी भी बदल सकता है. So we follow that rule, and whenever we are climbing, we see to it that, you know, we are really quick and we utilize maximum window that we get, the maximum time which we get. uh, that was all about time. But what now I would like to say is, when I started my journey, you know, so there has been lots of people who have been a very important and an integrated part of my life. My family, my friends, you know, they have really been important to me, and they have pushed me. Even if I was sick or I was down, they would have been like, you know, they will like, okay Keval, come on, आज 6 घंटा नहीं तो at least 3 घंटा training कर ले. You have to be really, you know, you have to really push your limits and you have to give your best, so that आगे जाके जब आप climb कर रहे हो आपको easy हो जाए. So they were my pillars of strength. And at base camp we were so many teams, you know, foreign countries, like some people from US, some people from Canada, some people were from Africa, then there was climbers from Australia, there were climbers from New Zealand, lots and lots of them, climbers from all over the world. And our tent was one crazy tent. You know, we had one climber, he was a doctor, 62-year-old doctor, and he was from Georgia. Then we had one climber who was from Ethiopia, Africa. Then we had one climber who was from Canada. Then we had one climber who was a UK citizen residing in Australia. So the best part was we all shared this same passion for mountains, and we were really crazy. We you know, we enjoyed. Everybody was worried and tense, कि climb होगा कि नहीं होगा, whether we will be able to summit or not. We were not at all worried about that, you know. We were literally enjoying our days. We were enjoying the God's creation. When you look at Kumbu Icefall, it is so amazing. Like there are huge towers, almost 80 to 100 feet towers, and yeah, when I look at those towers and when I saw that, I was amazed. मतलब buildings and skyscraper के length के towers, but at the same time they were also dangerous. You know, once you enter the Kumbu Icefall, there is this long piece at night, और एक crackling sound आता है where something is cracking. Then there is also a sound where something is, you know, moving beneath your feet. The ice is melting, and that time is really, yeah, I mean, you know, your patience is tested, your confidence is tested, but as a team we always had each other's back. We never, you know, gave up on each other, and we said, okay, there is no problem, kuch bhi hoga, we will help each other. So this whole team bonding thing was really awesome, and it really helped. If I talk about real life, no matter how best we perform or how good we give, but if we are not a person, you know, who work in a team, then things get difficult for us, because as we say, you know, alone you cannot win a war. So you have to really work hard, you have to really concentrate hard, and yeah, that was one factor where I realized that team building is really important. I remember, you know, so it was on the 2nd of May, we were at Camp 2, and India was hit by cloud. You know, there was a cyclone called Feni that hit Orissa, and lots of, I mean, there was lots of chaos and everything at base camp, because the wind suddenly rose to around 80 to 100 kilometers per hour. Literally tents were flying, and we could not even stay in the tents. But at that time, our team efforts, we all came together, and we just tried to hold on our tents, and somehow or the other how we survived that morning, and we descended. So it is really, you know, this teamwork really helps a lot, because in the mountains, your like the people whom you're climbing with, we call it a climbing partner, is your team. And if you have a back of your team, then definitely it helps a lot. So I want to know some experiences where you know, that teamwork has played such a big role. So, you know, if we could have somebody to talk about that.
Alright, there's Ravi and Shrija. We'll start with Shrija. You
Yep.
can share your experiences. I know you wanted to speak earlier as well.
Yeah. So actually, I was on a trip with my family and also it's actually a group to Switzerland, and we had to go to Titlis Mount. Okay.
Yeah.
So like there was an old man, like around 88 years old. He was like, I don't want to go through the that there was a helicopter taking us there. So he was like, I don't want to go through the helicopter. I want to go walking, and then later I'll take the helicopter.
Wow,
So
wow.
we took the halfway of the Titlis while walking, then halfway with the helicopter, because he was around 88 years old. So like all of us were like, no, you should, you know. And later
Yeah.
when he reached there, and it's very tough to walk on snow. It's
Yeah.
very tough to walk on snow.
Yeah.
Like it was tough for me also, even my parents, whatever age it is, it's very tough to walk on snow.
Yeah.
So he was there walking, playing with snow, playing with all of us for around like 1 hour. And what happened was, then he thought, let's go for some snow games.
Yeah.
There were some snow games related to snow. So later he also went for one of them, but then he got dizzy. So he
Oh.
was actually just about to die when one of our group members went with my parents, gave them some oxygen, gave them some medicines, made them drink water, and still he was when he came back down, he was still so
Yeah.
enthusiastic. He was singing songs. He was like, we
Full
cannot
high on
he was-
spirit,
he
yeah.
was 80
Yeah.
years old.
Yeah.
So that's actually teamwork, and that was actually a very nice experience for me and my family with that person.
Amazing, amazing. That was really awesome work that you did. You saved a life, and it's really important, you know, because I believe this thing that, you know, God, there is only one God, you know, who is known as the creator of the world. So only He has the right to create, and no matter how much hard we try, we cannot give life, like we cannot create life. But if by if we save somebody's life, that is really worth that. So great job. It was really awesome what you did. Let me, share about one thing that I really adore or I like about the mountains. In the last 1 month, I have been hearing lots of things about mental health, and people are talking, about stress, and many of them, they have stress issues, or they have seen people in stress or mental health related. When I was climbing Lhotse. So Mount Lhotse is the world's fourth highest mountain, and when you are about to reach the summit, just few meters short of the summit, like 30-40 meters below the summit, there is one climber who is dead, and he's lying there since 2012. He's a Zek climber who died. He passed away, and his body is lying there. So you have to cross that, and only then you can reach the top. So when I reached at that point, I've already submitted Everest, and when I saw the dead body, I was like, okay, you can see his face, which is half decomposed, and his clothing is torn, and he is looking at you, and that is really horrible. Then you start thinking, oh, what will happen? Whether will I also end in the same style, or what will go wrong, or whether can I go ahead or not? So your feet starts freezing, your mind starts playing game, and at that time it really becomes difficult what to do next, whether to go ahead or turn around back, or what to do. So I believe personally that self motivation is really important, not only in the mountains but in your real life also. Today you have some friends, tomorrow you will have some new friends, and later on, this process goes on. We humans have this long lifestyle where we meet so many people, and so many things keep on changing, but one thing remains the same, is yourself. That will never change. You will always have yourself with you. So that time in my mind I told myself, it's okay, he must have committed some mistake, या कुछ तो गड़बड़ हो गया होगा, weather खराब हो गया होगा, कुछ भी हो गया होगा, but I have to go ahead, and I have to return back safe to my family. So I have to only focus on my climbing, कि मेरे को कुछ गलती नहीं करना और मेरे को उस पे focus नहीं करना. And I went ahead, I submitted, and I returned back. So that was going in my mind. I self-motivated myself. And if you do that, trust me guys, you will never feel that you're alone, or you will never feel that something is wrong. If you self-motivate yourself, and if you keep on pushing your limits, you will cross all your boundaries. So that is really important, that whenever you do something, give all your heart, give all your efforts, and tell yourself, push yourself. If you do something good, always brace yourself that, okay, yeah, I have done something nice. So I want to know something that, you have done, motivated yourself and moved ahead. So something like that. Has anybody has something like that?
So that on this point, Keval, there's a question which is pertaining to what you just mentioned. That's by Shukrita. She's like, how do you conquer your mind when you feel like giving up? So that's, to a point of motivation. So I like you all to share your experiences, like Keval's asking you to. Ravi, would you like to speak? I know you wanted to say something a couple minutes ago. Ravi Parmar?
Yes, sir. Yes. हाँ जी, नमस्कार सभी को.
नमस्कार.
एक्चुअली मैं तब बोलना चाह रहा था जब हमने स्टार्ट किया था, राइट, कि लाइक हम सभी ने किस तरह से ये लाइक जो भी बोलो टैकल किया या फिर झेला इस लॉकडाउन को. उस टाइम की बात है. मैं तब अभी तो काफी हम आगे बढ़ चुके हैं, बट स्टिल कि लाइक आप बिलीव नहीं करोगे, मई में मेरा 1 मंथ का प्रोग्राम था, लाइक सोलो. ओके, नॉट क्लाइंबिंग एंड माउंटेनियरिंग और ट्रैकिंग ऐसा, बस निकलना ही था घर से. एक्सप्लोरिंग, यस एग्जैक्टली. उत्तराखंड और हिमाचल सोच के रखा था. और मई का सारा कुछ प्लान था, लाइक नॉट प्लान्ड इन द वे की बुकिंग वगैरह, बट स्पॉन्टेनियस था कि भाई जाना है मई में. ये डिसाइडेड था. अचानक से ये सारा कुछ आ गया, लॉकडाउन वगैरह, हालत खराब हो गई. अब क्या करना है. बस वही कि लाइक टैकल कैसे किया. तो 2 चीजें की. एक तो जब जहां मैं रहता हूँ सूरत, जैसा आपने बताया सह्याद्री, तो अपना वेस्टर्न घाट यहाँ गुजरात में भी है सूरत. तो वहां पे एक जगह है, मे भी बहुत लोगों ने नहीं भी सुना होगा, लाइक काफी लोगों ने नहीं सुना होगा, डांग. अगर आपको पता हो तो. केवल
मेरे को पता है डांग.
डांग बहुत ही करीब है हार्ट के मेरे, बहुत ज्यादा. लाइक एवरी मॉनसून में 3-4 बार वहां पे हमेशा जाता ही हूँ, लाइक सोलो एक्सप्लोर करने नई जगह. वहां पे बहुत कुछ ऐसा है जो बहुत लोगों ने नहीं देखा है, फिर भी स्टिल आई गो देयर और बहुत कुछ नया देखता हूँ. एक तो मैंने वो कर डाला, लाइक अपनी वाइफ को उसके घर छोड़ने गया था, तो फिर कार लेके उधर निकल पड़े जंगल में. दूसरा मैंने स्टार्ट किया गार्डनिंग, लाइक टेरेस पे, जस्ट टू काम इट, दिमाग को थोड़ा सही रहे. जैसा आपने बोला मेंटल हेल्थ हो, तो जिसको घूमना पसंद है उसके लिए ये टाइम बहुत ही वर्स्ट था, लाइक कि वो घर से बाहर नहीं निकल पा रहे।
Yeah.
तो गार्डनिंग इज समथिंग जो आपको बहुत काम रख सकता है।
Yeah.
सो बिल्कुल जीरो नॉलेज उसके हिसाब बारे में गार्डनिंग के बाद, फिर भी अभी नहीं भी तो मैंने कुछ 20 से 25 पॉट्स तैयार किए अपने टेरेस पे।
Yeah.
और अभी उसके साथ रोज कुछ न कुछ नया कुछ ये वो करते रहते। तो इस हिसाब से ही सिर्फ माइंड को काम
Yeah.
करके रखे, चलो अब सब कुछ दिन में ठीक हो जाएगा, फिर बाहर निकल पड़ेंगे।
Yeah.
तो इस हिसाब से अभी वो आपने जो मोटिवेशन का वो सब बोला उसके रिलेटेड तो कुछ नहीं था, स्टार्टिंग में बोलना था, तो इसलिए मैंने हैंड रेज किया था।
No, it is yeah, मतलब बोलते हैं ना कि you have to find the way out। बहुत सारा प्रॉब्लम्स होता है, इवन इन द माउंटेन्स हम लोग बहुत कुछ फेस करते हैं। तो बेसिकली वी बिलीव इन जुगाड़। सो हम लोग एक टाइम था, आई रिमेंबर, जब मैं अपने माउंटेनियरिंग के कोर्सेज कर रहा था अब्बीमास मनाली से। सो दैट वाज अराउंड 7 years ago in 2013-14। एंड हम लोगों को एक होता है सर्वाइवल। सो ड्यूरिंग द कोर्स एंड में यू हैव टू डू सर्वाइवल। आपको कुछ खाना पीना नहीं मिलता है, शाम को 5 बजे आपको छोड़ देंगे ग्लेशियर में, ना स्लीपिंग बैग मिलेगा ना कुछ मिलेगा, आपको सर्वाइव करना है। नेक्स्ट डे सुबह आना है 12 घंटे भूखे पेट, ना कुछ, ना आग जलाने के लिए कुछ वगैरह, लकड़ी नहीं, कुछ नहीं। और वहाँ पे पूरा ग्लेशियर होता है। सो इट इज़ ऑल मोरेन एंड ग्लेशियर देयर, and you have to survive 12 hours and come back in the morning, empty stomach, nothing. So we all went, we were left, and we went in the glaciers. You can hear avalanches, you can hear various wild animals. I don't know what animals there were because it was so freezing cold at night. So what we did was, we, literally, there was one rock, we some or the other how dug one hole kind of a thing, and we just got into the pit, 3-4 people together, and stick to each other, and we slept with the body warmth and everything. And morning we got up and we came down. We don't know how the night passed, what, there were so many things going in our mind. So survival is very important. If I talk about this condition or any condition, you have to be prepared, because life is about survival. So I really appreciate that you took gardening as a creative purpose, and you diverted your mind. It was absolutely awesome. So moving ahead, people talk about age, or people talk about barriers, that what age is it good to start mountaineering. So let me tell you guys, it's all in the mind. There is no age, there is no age bar. You are, if your mind is ready, you are ready for the mountains. May it be 60, may it be 62. You will be surprised to hear this, but the world record of the oldest person on Everest is 82 years. An 82 years Japanese guy, he has climbed Mount Everest. And the youngest is an Indian now. So 13 years old, Malavat Purna. There is a whole movie on that girl. She's very inspiring. So Malavat Purna, a 13-year-old lad from India, she is the youngest to climb Everest. So there is no age or something where you pursue mountaineering. What really matters is your mindset, if you're really prepared or not mentally. And second thing, your dedication. If you really, even if you're not prepared, theek hai, koi baat nahi, you can put always efforts, train harder and harder, and then you can go ahead, and then you can push your limits. When I started, I was completely blank, because now we call this, the Google era. So we have everything, you just at the touch of the button, just you type something and it is there. But at that time, when I'm talking about 7-8 years ago, so there was hardly any internet, we could not find any sources. So I was puzzled. But that was a very beautiful process. Trust me guys, I went through so many blogs, I went through so many research papers, I read so many books, and finally I came to know that there are institutes in India that promote mountaineering. I enrolled for it, and my whole life changed. So if you really want to prepare yourself, become really tough in life and be disciplined, so there is this 1-month course happening. So before he said from NIM he did a course in December. So there are these 5 mountaineering institutes in Manali, one is in Dehradun, one is in Pahalgam, Kashmir, then there is one in Darjeeling, and one in Arunachal Pradesh. So you can join and go courses in this institute. It will not just teach you mountaineering, but it will show you a different perspective of life. Everybody, there are some people who are coming from all over the part of the world. Most of them are Indians, but yeah, different parts of the world. They will come, they will share tents with you, they will share dormitories and everything, and you will get to learn a lot from them. So it is a different experience. So people who really want to do something adventurous or try something different, so you should join and apply for this course. So that is really awesome. Yeah, if anybody wants to share something, please.
Yeah, a lot of people, Keval,
Yeah.
they've also mentioned your energy. They've trekked with you, and your energy is crazy. So there are a lot of
Right.
comments. I'll share that with you. But Rian, you wanted to say something. Ritika will come to you next as well after Rian. So Rian, can you want to share?
Yes, did you see any animal tracks or hear any stories about weird animals near the mountain?
Yes. So, in the mountains, I found various animals. Like when I was climbing in Ladakh, there is this beautiful creature. I mean, I don't know what to call it, but it is known as the marmot. It is like a rat, but a huge rat. It is very cute, and it just comes out of his burrow and nibbles on whatever you give him, feed him. So that was one thing. Then I was fortunate enough to see a snow leopard. So I don't know. Have you heard about a snow leopard, Rian? Okay, I think he's on mute. But yeah, I mean,
Yes.
you have heard right. So a snow leopard is very beautiful and a magnificent creature, and it is found in the Himalayan snowfields. So yeah, I was really amazed to see him running. The snow leopard was running so fast. So yeah, I've seen many such animals in the wild and in real. So it was really great. Yeah.
Harsh, would you like to say something? Share something with us?
Uh, Hi, so this is Harsh from Pune,
Yeah. Hey, Harsh.
and so I've been so in Pune, in around Pune there are too many forts. So I've been to Torna around 7 to 8 times, and for the first 3 times I have climbed Torna from wrong route. Like all the 3 times I went, I was guided by someone to go on a wrong route.
Yeah.
And whenever nowadays I take anybody with me for the trek, I have an option. Like I have three ways from them. Like, do you want to go from the road? Do you want to go from the original path, or do you want to go from the wrong route?
Yeah.
So everybody is like excited for the wrong route. So now, so that's one of the things. Like as you had said, that there should be a confidence or a motivation to do that, and because of doing that, Tona has become one of my favorites, and I
Yeah.
make it a point that every year I
Go to
take
Torna.
the same food rather than go like in a year on rainy seasons. It's a compulsory for a season. Like yes, we should go for Torna.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've been to Rajgarh Torna. It's absolutely beautiful, especially in the monsoons.
yeah,
So yeah, it is a must-go place. And as you said, it is always fun to do something which others have not done. When you walk on the same defined trail, it becomes very, you're like just watching the trail and going by. But when you open up your own route, that we term it as a first ascent. When we are climbing a mountain which nobody has climbed, a virgin mountain. So that is a first ascent. When you do that, everything on your own, it really feels good. So I can completely get you. Awesome. And keep climbing. Yeah, keep hiking. Yeah.
Okay, Keval, we take some more questions.
Yeah, yeah, we can.
Okay,
Yeah.
not questions, experiences. So if you can
Experiences.
please,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
this is not a question answer. This is
yeah.
please share whatever you feel like, and
Feel like. Exactly.
yeah, Ritika, yeah, you want to say something, share something with us, Ritika Gupta.
Hi, thanks. So I did a Everest base camp trip last year in November, and just sort of sharing your experience. You talked about the current scenario of mental health and how do you relate it to your experiences. I think one thing that stood out for me in those 11 days of the trek. So when you go up to the mountains or the valley, everything looks so overwhelming, right? You have something. Let's say you have something Everest. All the peaks are Annapurna, for that matter. All the peaks are just overwhelming, and as you come more closer to it, it's just more overwhelming, right? And the moment you keep going at a higher altitude, the oxygen level decreases, which means it plays with your mind. There are less trees. There's hardly any greenery. There's hardly any plantation over. After most likely like a 4,000 meter
Yeah.
height. So when your brain is playing a lot of tricks, and there is overwhelming beauty around you, at the same time there's danger lurking around you. what does one do? What worked for me personally in those many days was just taking one day at a time, not literally thinking about what is my tomorrow going to be. I have to trek for another 1,000 meter up. That
Yeah.
sounds too overwhelming. That sounds too dangerous. Just taking one day at a time, absorbing the beauty around, being with the people you have, your partners, like you said, your camping buddies, your trek buddies, and enjoying that moment. And this very clearly also relates to our lives in general. With everything going around, with every chaos that's happening around the world, uh, just take one day at a time. And that's actually how a lot of mountaineers, a lot of trekkers, campers actually do. They do not think what it is, if they'll have food tomorrow, if they'll have a warm bed tomorrow, then or they'll have a good tea. Just enjoy, just be in the present, and that's just going to make the entire trip, entire experience much more exhilarating than what you ever thought of. I think you'll be just thankful of it at the end of it. So yes, that's what I wanted to share in terms of relating what mountains teach you and the real life.
Yeah, that is really awesome, your experience. And as you said, you've been to Everest Base Camp, so life about Dingboche. It is all just three colors: brown, white, and blue. That's it. So the
Absolutely.
sky, no greenery, nothing, and how struggleful it is, to even step. You go to Kalapathar or you go to Gorakshep, how difficult it is to even take one single step. So yeah, it is really amazing, and it was glad to hear your thought on that. Awesome experience, man. Yeah.
Thanks, Ritika, for sharing. Yep. Thank you. Keval, there's a question someone had by Yovish Singh. Mountaineering has also affected the region's environment immensely. Any tips you would like to share on how someone can make an effort so that there is minimal effect on the environment and we also enjoy the journey? I think this is a very important question. Last campfire stories we had Christine, who sort of has this thing of a litter-free India. So I think it's pertaining to the environment. Keval, you'd like to take this?
Yeah. So as I said, nature is, I make it my home, my teacher, and we never, we the place where we live in, we never put garbage or make it harmful for us to live. So I'll talk about personally myself. So I believe in responsible tourism. It is not just my duty or one person's duty. It is everybody's duty that whenever we go out, we do not throw waste here and there. We do not litter. So what we do, whenever I am going on a mountain, I always carry a small pouch which is known as a garbage bag. And whenever I am walking, if I see any wrappers or if I see any plastic bottles or something like that, I just pick it and I clean the mountain. I get it back. So this is not just by trekkers or maybe mountaineers, but this is also deposited by villagers. Some, there are many villages on the way when we hike in the valleys. So they keep on going up and down, to and fro. So maybe, meanwhile, to travel, they eat something and they forget it, or the wrapper is left out, or maybe it is carried out by the wind from some village. So yeah, there is lots of garbage and waste on Everest. You would not believe, but last year the Nepal government made an effort and they took out 10 tons of waste from just Camp 2. 10 tons of waste, that is 10,000 kgs, so lots of weight still is on Everest. When I was on Camp 4, I was picking up rags and pieces, but still it did not end because it was so much. And yeah, we have our capacity to carry weight, we cannot carry excess and everything. So but I try my best, and I also request everybody that try to avoid use of like single use plastics. If you are able to carry a water bottle, maybe a good water bottle, carry it. Maybe a metal water bottle or wooden water bottle, carry it along, so you don't need to buy Bisleris, which adds up to the plastic waste. And try to recycle as much as possible. So I personally feel that whatever is happening, the ecological balance has been disturbed, and we could make efforts together. One small effort will create a huge difference. So that is my take on this, that we start as an individual basis and we work as a team. Wherever we go, we try, to whatever is harming or affecting the environment, we try to save it. So
Absolutely.
that will create a huge impact.
Absolutely, and like Keval mentioned, for his expeditions, he has limitations of weight he can carry. So, but most of us, we trek in like you said, Sayadris. That's where I trek every month, and these are forts. We have hundreds of forts in Maharashtra, but whenever we go, there will always be this plastic bottles, and there will always be these wrappers, chocolate wrappers. So if you're going, a garbage bag, is essential. And as a rule, when we go, trekking, like you said, as an individual, carry garbage back more than you've taken to the mountains, right? Your small step, if we are there about 250 people, 300 people here today, if 300 of us were trekking, get those garbage back, it's easier. We don't need an organization to go on a litter drive, right? We take
Yeah.
these individual steps, and our children and our siblings and our family will see us, and they'll take these steps. And the same steps like you take in the mountain, you take in your own homes and your own cities. So you bring these lessons learned from the mountains to us in our own homes, and you can practice that from today. You don't have to go to the mountain to practice that.
Definitely, yeah.
Super.
Yeah.
Keval, Shilpa wants to share something. Shilpa, would like to unmute yourself?
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Yeah. Congratulations, Keval. First, to completed Everest. I've been to Everest Base Camp, and I want to share something that there was a casualty in our group as we completed Gorakshep, and you were talking about the timing
Yeah.
on treks,
Yeah.
which is very important to take the decision at quick time.
Yeah.
So what happened? We completed a Gorakshep, Kalapathar,
Yeah.
and there itself, the guy from Surat, he got some stomach pain, and he just don't want to be with porter, and he was very adamant because he was very good trekker, so
Yeah.
not listening to anybody.
Yeah.
But still, we just carry him, and we completed while returning. We completed 2-3 camps at a time, but still at Tengbuche we lost him.
Yeah.
So that thing is very, very important. And even I am going to add up here that to listen to your batchmates, your trekmates that time, just keeping your ego aside, and just listen that what they are. Maybe we were very small, that, and he is a big guy,
Big guy.
by age also, but experience also. But still, we were just pushing him ki uncle niche chalte hain, and
Yeah.
he was not listening. So that was a casualty happens, and it's very sad that we completed our trek with the casualty with us. So just wanted to share this.
Yeah, I mean, I believe this one thing that my sir, when I was doing my course, my sir Jagat Thakur, he's been my role model, and he taught me this one thing, if you are alive today, you can climb 10 more mountains tomorrow.
True, very true.
So it is safety first, you have to understand yourself. And the second quote that comes out is to climb the right altitude, you need the right attitude. So
Yes.
that is really important. Whenever I go in the mountains, it is not about me or it is not about myself. It is about everyone. So I treat the porters the same. I treat the Sherpas the same, and whatever they tell me, no matter how expert I am or how well I know, I still listen to them. If they say you do not go there, you do not go there. That's it. The last word.
Perfect. And
Because
they are the most experienced
yeah,
one.
and
Sherpas.
every mountain they have some rituals. They have a religious following. So I personally believe we are not supposed to hurt that. We have Ganges here, like the Ganga, which it originates from the Gangotri. So not only trekkers go there, but lots of pilgrims also visit that, the covered people. Yeah.
Correct.
So when we go there, it is very important to respect them also. When I went, I saw, I have my own company. So we organize treks and we lead. So when I was leading, I saw one guy, he was literally shivering. He was just wearing one like a dhoti below and one gamcha, they call it. So he was just having that. He was shivering badly. We were all wearing padded jackets, and we were having the like the thermal fan. Yeah. So many layers and everything. So one of my team members, he said, why is he not wearing that? So I said maybe it's a religious belief or something. So he just went to that person and he offered his fleece jacket to that person, and that person was so much in cold and he did not have any clothes, so he accepted it and he thanked that person. So it is always, really nice to show that, right attitude towards people, that nobody is big or small, or we are not something great or something. So I really like that thing and I kept in my mind. So what you said was, one of those points that you have to learn, and you always have to be humble, only then you will receive.
Yeah,
So thank you
correct.
so much. Yeah, it was an amazing experience, and we hope that there are no such people who lose their lives. So
Yeah.
we pray that, yeah, definitely they should listen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, Keval, there's a question from Dishan Gosar. They've written on the chat. I very well understood how self-motivation is the most important aspect to
Yeah.
achieve our goals. However, I would like to ask how important a role do family and friends play while achieving such goals? I think it's a very pertinent question, right?
No, that is a very good question. I would say that, yeah, it is, family and friends are always around you. They are like, if you are a tabletop, they are your pillars. So their support really matters a lot. Their pushing really matters a lot, because also they see you grow. So they know your positive and negative aspects as well. They know whether you're capable to do it or not. So lot of effect, Dishan, is from, or a lot of energy is from the family and friends. But also I would like to state that if you are doing something, and say for some reason your family or your friends do not encourage you, then you should also think from their point of view, why not? Why are they saying so? Is there some problem with me, or is there some glitch or something like that? Once you analyze and you try to understand it, talk with them. Don't argue, don't fight, just try to listen, what they have to say, what is their point of view, and then you decide whether, okay, they are having a valid point or not. Because obviously the people who love you, we care for you, they will never let you go on the wrong path. So yeah, they definitely play a huge role, and some part of my motivation comes from my family. So yeah.
Absolutely. You got to be aware the mindset your mom, your father, your sibling, your wife, your children are in, because you may get mental satisfaction and peace and focus and all those feelings, but it might stress them out. So you got to be very, very aware of their feelings, and act accordingly. Super. Okay, we have a question from Saloni. You can unmute yourself. I know you've been wanting to ask something or share your experience.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure listening to you, Keval. I agree with Shilpa. Now, I'm a teacher and I'm rather a novice at this. But I remember being part of this trekking excursion where I was asked to be in charge of the children. Now, we obviously had officials who were in charge of guiding us because they are masters at it. And during that excursion, I learned among many things, two which I really remember right now is that, and the ones that I would like to speak of right now is one was that now you see children have a tendency of competing with one another, so there would always be a tendency of trying to reach a particular point before the others.
Yeah.
But that was what I remember our senior most camp leader asking us not to do, that it is not important to reach a point first. It is very important that since we are moving as a group, to keep track of who is in front of you and who's behind. So that was one important lesson. And secondly, about time, since you started with that, the first night I remember, actually the dawn. So we were, whenever the whistle would ring out, we had to fall in line. As soon as the whistle would ring out. So, and that was the first time that I was experiencing something of that sort. So we were supposed to pack up our sleeping bags and get back in line. And as I was packing my sleeping bag, I saw that there was someone else who was not able to pack hers. So I rushed to her rescue. And after I had helped her, I went back to mine. But by that time, I was actually late. So I remember getting a scolding, but then I couldn't exactly explain why I was late. But the gentleman had seen. So later on, he explained that, see, I appreciate that you tried to help out, but you should have been ready first. So that is also important, that you take care of people around you you should also not lose sight of your readiness.
Yeah.
So this was important. And if I may share just one more, I don't know whether I can. Uh, Another time when we were walking through the Buxa Reserve, I remember that was on I think on a bird watching camp or so. So I remember coming across this very elderly gentleman who was part of our group, and he sat crouched at the side of the trail. And I looked back, and in front, the one who would have been nearest to us was not in sight, and our phones weren't really working. So I didn't know what to do, whether to pass him by or to stand there. But I did stand there because I was a little worried, since he asked me to move on ahead and not to care, not to really think about it. He just needed some rest.
Yeah.
But still, I stood there, and after a while, when the gentleman who was behind us, he came up, he caught up on us. Thankfully, he did, because then together we helped him to his feet, and then he was able to move on.
Yeah.
Later on, my teammates, they told me that I did the right thing, because though I did it entirely because I was concerned and I thought that it would not be right to leave him there.
Yeah.
They told me that in that position of being crouched, that crouching position itself would have been dangerous for him, because it's a reserve.
Yeah.
And that would have been typically the position of a prey.
Yeah.
So and also, I mean, I guess that just tells me what team effort is all about.
Definitely.
So to sum it up,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. We can take a couple quick more questions. So we have Adya. You'd like to share something with us, with everyone?
I would like to first hello to everyone. I would like to say one thing, that we only should pick the garbage, as me a student, if I will not pick, then my future and the future generation would not be able to survive. So I believe that if we will start picking the garbage, people will see us and they will get motivated to pick garbage, and
Awesome.
that will once make our city or our country whole clean.
Awesome. That was amazing. Yes, you very well said that, the first thing starts from you. So you do it and people follow. So that's absolutely nice. Yes, very good.
And even our government is not responsible of picking garbage, because they are not doing the garbage. Then why they are only responsible of picking garbage? Whom are doing, they should be responsible of picking garbage, not everyone.
Yeah, but let's not get to on their duties, what they have to do and not. But very well said that we have to do our duty. If we see garbage somewhere, we have to pick it and put it in the right place. That is the dustbin. So very well said. I am really proud of you. Yeah.
Well said. I agree.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
There should be more people like you, Adya. Very good. Neha Vyas. So we'll take one quick question. Neha?
Yeah, hi. Actually, I'm Priya, and this is the first time I'm attending any such gathering, and I'm glad I'm part of this today. So actually, I work with Radio Mirchi as an RJ, and I really wanted to explore, some nature, and that too through trek. So I attended my first trek last year, and it was Dang.
Yeah.
और मैं बहुत professionally अच्छे से properly वहाँ पे plan करके गई थी, and I thought कि चलो at least we'll get some hotel or something like that. I didn't know, this was my first time trekking experience ever. So I went there and we were given tents, and it was raining, and it was continuously raining, and I didn't see sun for 3 days, and I went there, and suddenly after 1 hour I realized that I am a person who actually enjoys luxury travel and all those things, but here when I came, I had to cook myself, I have to serve, and I was so happy and so excited that I realized one thing, that when you are in nature, be natural and stay connected to nature. And one major learning is that please keep your phone aside whenever you are traveling at such a beautiful place. Because I saw that actually we had 60 people along with us, and everybody was so busy clicking snaps and selfies and, you know, posting on their Instagrams and all.
They
And
make the
me
difference.
actually
I think there's a network issue with Neha, but that's nice commitment. Neha's in a car. I hope you're safe, Neha. I hope you're not driving and sharing your experience. But I think
doing all those things, I had my phone aside, kept aside, and I was like, I actually had a very I didn't see my phone for 3 days. Single selfie. I'm like, मेरे को ऐसा कुछ
okay. I think the networks.
Yeah, but again, what she mentioned was really amazing. That, you know, live the moment. Once, you know, yeah. What we do is we try to capture the moment. Yeah, okay, 1 or 2 snaps is enough. But, you know, we just be there, and that moment. No sunrise what I've seen is the same. No sunset what I've witnessed is the same. Every sunset and sunrise is different, and they tell a different story. So if you visit my Instagram page, you will find so many pictures of sunrise and sunset. All are different, because every time you see, you just are blown away, and it is so mesmerizing that you don't know how to react. And if I just click on sitting and clicking pictures, I'll actually miss the fun of it. So yeah, she said was very right. And trekking is about digital detox, where, you know, you just capture and register the memory in your mind. That is really important. Nowadays it's all about, you know, showing people where we have been and everything. But yeah, the real meaning or the real fun of adventure is to be there and enjoy there, forgetting about what people will think, what they will react. Nothing. You connect with yourself. Whole year you are working, and, you know, you are bearing so much of stress and everything. So these days are your days. So spend it on yourself and connect with yourself. That is important. So yeah, awesome, Neha. You really said something that was really great.
Exactly. You got to take time out for yourself. And you know, today we are so much in the digital age. I know all of you have come through the digital means, but when you're physically with someone, we're still on our phones. And the whole idea is that when you're in the mountains, you have longer conversations, right? That's why this is a 1 hour conversation that we've had with everyone, right? It's not a quick text that we've sent with each other. We are hearing your personal experiences, and I think that leads to better knowledge. It leads to better experiences and better learning. So awesome, super. There are a few more questions, but I think we've touched Awana and Keval. You like to say anything, you know, before we close, or share something?
So I would like to say, you know, like sum it in a very good way, that I was just on the top of Everest for 27 minutes, and I did not click much pictures. My battery drained. It was around -45, -50 degrees Celsius on the top, and it was freezing cold. But I could not take my eyes off what was around me and the views. But, you know, rather than those 27 minutes on the top of the mountain, what I always remember and cherish is the whole journey. You know, how it all began, and my whole Everest expedition turned out to be like 45 days. And during that 45 days, I met so many people who were from different caste and creed, who were from all parts of the world, and they taught me so many small or different things. Their culture, I mean the Nepalese culture, it is very much inspired from India, but also such diversity in the culture. So this is what I learned, and I really wish you all guys that, you know, always cherish the journey. Forget about the rewards or the goal or the result that will be coming up in your journey of life, but cherish the journey. And when you're doing this journey, really respect everybody, and yeah, this place will be an amazing place to live with. Keep trekking, keep climbing, keep the environment clean, and definitely we would like to connect. And if you want to see some amazing pictures, you can check my videos on YouTube and also on my Instagram handle. And thank you so much. It was really fun here. I really I learned a lot from interaction, and I really met some amazing people. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Keval. I think today I'm really enjoying. I've got harems below this. Usually when I go to the mountains, but I'm in a good mood today, meeting and connecting with all of you, and of course thanks for the immense inspiration and knowledge that you always provide. Speaking with you always gets me in a good mood. So thank you. So like Keval said, you know, mountains is just a state of mind, right? So we can get it to us in our own homes. And I hope we've tried to do that today. The whole idea was sort of us to be in this virtual environment of a campfire where we're having clean conversations and inspiring conversation. But it is not about just today. So you continue your journey with us. Of course, you know our Instagram handle and Keval Kaka's Instagram. He's got some amazing, inspiring pictures and his YouTube channel. So follow him, follow us. And we've started a new group called ES Hiking Group Community on our Facebook page. After our last campfire sessions, a lot of you asked for a place where you all could share your experiences and ask questions. And the same thing what we're doing today, but with through images and stuff. So if you like, you can go to Facebook group. It's on our Facebook page and join the community and share your experiences, of course. And we'd love to hear your experiences through that medium. And of course, we have a lot of sessions. We've just completed 2 months this week, and we've got a lot of innovative and fun sessions. Tomorrow we've got a gardening session, a monsoon gardening session. It's still monsoons, and a lot of people have been asking, facing problems with their plants. Like Ravi mentioned at the start, he's got into gardening. A lot of people have got into gardening. I myself have planted in so many plants. All these things you see around me is what I've done during the lockdown. So get into that. You can come tomorrow. We have some guided meditations and upcycling, all the good stuff. You're learning good stuff. You don't have to buy. It's all stuff from your own homes. I'll hopefully see you all over here. You all know how to register. They're all free. And thanks again, Keval, and thank you all for spending your Saturday with us and spreading some love and sunshine with your trek mates.
Bye.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was awesome being here, and All right.